Hi, this is Nancy with On Point TV, and we are continuing our series in the block by block quilting techniques for making entire quilts where you piece and quilt the blocks one at a time and then assemble them together. So this is the quilted tiles block, one of the 12 quilted tiles blocks we've been working on. Please keep in mind you can get any of these designs that I've showed you so far by going to our website. If you go to www.onpoint-tv, go to the shop section, and in the shop section you will see a place where you can purchase a couple of books that we have, a pincushion and pattern, and the free download for the quilted tiles designs. Also, if you go back a few videos from this, I actually teach you how to design your own quilted tiles, that's what I'd really like to see you do, design your own. But if you don't want to do that, you can always download the ones we have on the website. We've taken you through the basting, the sashings, doing the appli-quilting for putting the bias stems down. Now it's time to take you to my larger machine so I can do some of the quilting with you. So I've moved us over to my larger quilting machine, and really the main reason I want to be on this machine is because I have this big table. So when it comes time that you are quilting your own quilts, this would be one of the really fabulous things that you'd want to buy for yourself, because having a large surface, having the machine be sunk even with it, makes all the difference in the world. Now this machine is just a simple, it only goes straight stitch, free motion, that's it, no zigzags, nothing like that. It was actually a Pfaff machine, but I believe it was made by Janome or Brother. It was made by another company. It's not what I would call a true Pfaff machine, but I love this machine for quilting. Here's the tools I'm going to use. On the top, I'm going to use So Fine from Superior. Now what I love about this is it's a polyester thread and it's a matte finish. So for these quilts, I want a matte finish. Sometimes I want shiny, sometimes I want matte. In the bobbin, I'm using the Bottom Line, but for this machine, it works really well if I buy this entire pack of bobbins. They're called Super Bobs, and they're all Bottom Line thread, come in many different colors. So I love that because then I don't have to take any time to wind my bobbins. The needle I'm going to use is a TopStitch 90. TopStitch has a deeper groove and a larger oval hole for the needle, so it helps protect my thread. That's the size 90, and the 80 is my next best bet, a little bit of a smaller. This happens to be a Schmetz TopStitch Chrome, which means that it won't get as hot. I've only just started using them. They seem to be working fine, but I honestly don't think that I see any difference between this Chrome and the normal Schmetz TopStitch needle. I'm going to use my Lickity Grip. This is what I use to keep my hands to be a little bit sticky when I'm doing my stitching instead of wearing quilting gloves. And then of course my pair of embroidery scissors. So I'm first going to have to replace my white thread up to the top here. Oops, I got it a little bit twisted. There. All right. Move my blue thread out of the way. Put some Lickity Grip on. That gets my hands just to be a little bit sticky. Now we can really look at the block. So on this block, we've already done the appli-quilting around all of the bias bars, which means I don't really need to do any quilting inside these smaller sections, inside this yellow section, or even inside here. I will probably come and do a little bit of a circle around in the circle, but I want to start with the echo quilting that we'll do on the outside edge. Now what's really nice is this foot from the needle position to the edge of the foot is about 1/4 of an inch. So that's where my echo quilting will happen. So I'm going to start here up in the corner. I'm going to put my needle down and my needle up. That will find my bobbin thread for me. There it is. There is my bobbin thread. Now I'm going to put my needle in the down, and I'm going to start free motioning. Oh, I do have to lower my presser foot on this one. Switching machines kind of confuses me sometimes. So now I'm going to start my echo stitching. So the trick to echo stitching is to not go too fast, but to go fast enough that you can stay smooth, and to stop at corners so that you can reposition your hands and know which direction you're going in. So I'll always stop right there. Now I'll come up to do the point and back down. So I will go all the way around this quilt with the echo stitching before I start the additional machine quilting I'll do. As I'm at the end, I'm going to make my lock stitch, which is just tiny stitches all in the same place. And with this machine, I can just cut my thread off. Then I can use my scissors to cut this section off, and then I'll flip it over, and then I have a very tiny thread comes off with this particular machine. So now I'm ready to do the free motion quilting on the rest of it. So I'm going to just do, oh, you know what I want to point out is that my echo stitching is not perfect. I want you to notice that there is no perfect in any of the quilting that I do, but to help, I used a cream colored thread and a light colored bobbin thread so that you can't really see that obviously that my lines are not exactly the way they should be. So if you're thinking that you're going to be working toward perfect, you might want to pick up another craft. There is no perfect in quilting. So now we're going to start doing some meandering. So this is what my meandering looks like. Puzzle pieces was what some people will call it. To me, they look like aliens. They have big heads and little necks. I just love doing this. This would be considered meandering, not stippling. Stippling is going to be much smaller. I like to start on an outside edge and then move in. And always try to keep making curves as you go. So here I'm going to go a big and then come in on the little curves and continue that. Just working myself around the block. I don't have to get too close to the echo stitching, and I'm just filling in all of the space with this simple meandering. Now do keep in mind that this is not a complete tutorial on free motion quilting. There is a very complete tutorial on free motion quilting if you go earlier into our video series where we're working on the learning to quilt. On that, I take you through all the different kinds of machines. I take you through using tables, using what kind of needles, different kinds of threads. So there is a ton more information on free motion quilting on the YouTube channel on Point Dash TV. So be sure that you go there to find a lot more information that I've taught on free motion quilting. So I'll finish that at a little bit later, and I want to take you now to the quilting on the sashings. To do the sashings, I want you to remember that this section will be attached to another block, so you really don't want to quilt all the way to the edge. So I'm going to use my white pencil and a ruler to mark a 1/4 inch all the way around, because I want to keep my quilting inside that 1/4 inch edge. Otherwise, I'll end up cutting off some of my quilting design when we attach the blocks. I wouldn't want to do all the work of quilting it and then have it just be cut off in the end. And I'm going to do a very simple design here. I'm going to do what I call loop-de-doos, and it's just going to go up and down and up and down. So now I have just that slight mark going all the way around in white. So that's a 1/4 of an inch in, so that I won't quilt past that line. Going to come up to the top, and again I'm going to bring my bobbin thread to the top by lowering my needle and bringing it back up, and then find my bobbin thread, and I'm ready to start. So put my needle in the down position and my presser foot down, and I'm ready to quilt. Now I'm going to, just like I said, it's kind of a loop-de-doo type of a design where it goes up and down and crisscrosses right in the middle. Now if you were trying to have something that was very formal, you could actually mark the locations of where the loop-de-doos would happen. I just find going up and down works great for me and makes me happy, and really when it comes to quilt making, it's all about what makes you happy. So I'm just about to the end of that sashing, but I want to put some marks here in the corner so I can see what you can see what I'm going to stitch here. So I'm just going to do an X mark right through. Maybe I'll go on this side, being sure to stay within again that 1/4 inch that I marked. So I've marked my 1/4 inch first, and then I have these little edges. Now I'm going to have this crisscross here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go from the sashings into working on that section. So finish up my last loop-de-doo and come all the way up to the top to where that first X mark happened. And now I'm going to go a curve around, all the way around, kind of, I don't know, creating a 4-petal unit. So going to the center, then to the point, now coming back to the center, to the next point. So I'm making half circles as I go, and I think what is the most important in terms of where you're quilting is to try your best to get right there in the center so it'll make a crisscross. Can you see how that's created a crisscross? It's not even where I marked it, but that's okay. It's right there in the middle, and it's a really nice little crisscross that it creates. Now I'm just going to quilt around the edge because I don't want to cut my thread off. And then I'm back to the next sashing where I can continue my loop-de-loos. So this is the design that I did, and I noticed that you really probably can't see it too very well, so I'm going to flip it around to the back side. That is the loop-de-doo design that I did on the sashings. Keep in mind that when I did the blue on the top, I will always go to a low contrast thread in the bobbin, and here is where I did with the white, where I have a low contrast on a very, very light color, kind of ecru color. So again, always trying to match my bobbin and top threads, which means I do oftentimes change my bobbin thread a lot. The quilting is all done on our blocks now. So I know that next time we get together, we will start putting the blocks together. So following Beth Donaldson's techniques, doing the block by block. When I was doing the quilting on the quilt, I mentioned that there was a lot more information on quilting. Straight line quilting, in the ditch quilting, free motion quilting, what threads I use, what needles I use, all the different types of machines that you can use, and that is all part of the Learning to Quilt series. This is the Learning to Quilt book. So this is a book that I wrote that has all of the techniques needed for completing quilting. It is not just a book for beginners. That is the quilt on the back side there. So the book is available on our website, onpoint-tv. It's available in a print version, and it has a really cute pink spiral binding. I love that. And it is also available on an ebook, so you can download it. And we really did that mainly because I can't really ship these overseas. I would love to. It just costs so much money. If you really want me to, I'd be happy to ship one for you. Just know it costs a little bit more than you might want to spend. But the ebook is available, and it is $10 less than the printed book, so there's a little advantage there. So please join us next time on onpoint-tv, where we will be doing the block by block technique, putting this quilt all together.